Hey guys, on this episode of Manufacturing Unscripted, we have Denny Savage from Stäubli. We discuss safety requirements for industrial robots, Stäubli's tool changers, and how they are heavily focused on safety for their customers. Without further ado, enjoy the show.
This podcast is sponsored by Promus Incorporated, the leading provider of fully electric servo presses for manufacturing. Promus provides global support for pressing and motion control applications in multiple industries. With precise positioning and in-process force monitoring, your company will begin to see ROI on day one. Call 810-229-9334 or email sales@promusinc.com to speak with an expert engineer about your application today.
Hey guys, welcome to Manufacturing Unscripted. I'm your host, Matt Rawl.
And I'm Lauren.
Today our guest is Denny Savage from Stäubli. He is the Channel Development Manager and Automation Specialist. Hey Denny, how you doing?
Good morning. Happy New Year to all. Thank you, Matt and Lauren, for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you for joining us. Denny, you are a first-time guest, and with all first-time guests, I always enjoy kind of hearing about your journey through the industry and kind of how you got to where you are today. So if you don't mind starting off with that.
Well, great. I am a mechanical engineer from Michigan Tech.
Right.
From long ago, and it's been 38 plus years in the automation side of the industry. Began first in the automotive plants, and then sales in all types of automation equipment, from drilling, tapping, screw driving, soldering, brazing, grippers. Then got into the tool changers in their height of the mid to later 90s, and have been involved in tool changers ever since. Joined Stäubli some 8 years ago, and have had many roles, mainly automation specialist for Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and then of late a dual role with channel development manager, as we put manufacturers, reps, distributors, other channel partners in around the country where we don't have direct people. Mm-hmm. So the journey's been long, and a lot of experience along the way in automated assembly processes.
So I'm a mechanical engineer myself, and I guess a question for you is why sales? What drove you towards sales after you got your degree?
I suppose, well, first I should say, I spent 5 years as, the
Yep.
working engineer.
Yep.
But I suppose the main thing was personality, was drives, I think, most salespeople out into the sales role. Mm-hmm. And I love seeing different processes, and in the sales role, you see that every day. Yep. And of course, communication with engineers, with management, with floor people is crucial, and just something that I've never looked at it as work. I've just always enjoyed it.
Well, I think it gives you kind of an advantage, right, with the background that you have, talking about the technology. Not saying that sales guys don't understand it if they're pure sales guys, but being an engineer, you're able to talk more technical sales. And I think, at least in my experience, the technical sales guys are better at getting to my need sooner than traditional sales.
Very true. Probably the toughest thing we face is getting inside someone's head within a few minutes of knowing what they have to accomplish, having seen it or maybe done it, and to even help the customer with some ideas maybe that he didn't see, or challenges that he may overlook. Mm-hmm. So we that sales role isn't just come and buy my product. It's let's make a better process and make for a customer to have a better experience.
Right.
All right. So you ended up at Stäubli, and I'm always going to say it that way. I know that's how you're supposed to say it.
You're really trying to say it the Swedish way.
And I just out of respect for them, I've been told that's how to say it.
Been schooled on it.
Let's learn more about them and what they're doing, and kind of how you ended up there, and what you've been able to do since then.
Okay. Yeah, that's a longer story, because it's It's a diverse company.
Yep.
Some 130 years old. Started out of Switzerland. Um, 6,000 employees strong,
Mhm.
$1.5 billion thereabout in sales, and they're broken up into different divisions. Textile, robotics, that a lot of people are familiar with. They think the robot group. But then there's the electrical connector division, and the group that I'm part of is the fluid connector division. And the tool changers fall
Yep.
under, it's a big quick disconnect coupling,
Yep.
if you will. And manufacturing is for all the products, Switzerland, France, and Germany. The tool changers are primarily made in Germany,
Mhm.
some of the couplings out of France, and North American operation in Duncan, South Carolina, where all the divisions have engineers, both from, design, project, assembly, quite an inventory
Mhm.
stored down there. And then satellite offices here in the Detroit area, the LA area. So we have the world covered
Yep.
with people. So it's nice that if a project program equipment's going to be built anywhere and sent
Yep.
anywhere, the support is everywhere in the world.
Yep. With your closeness to the technology and just the tenure you've had in the industry, like, what are your thoughts on just how automation has changed? I mean, with the tool changers, all that stuff. I mean, I feel like it's ever expanding and innovation is happening constantly.
Yeah, the interesting, question, because the robots are going in everywhere.
Yeah.
From food, defense, aerospace, to your industries of automotive and
Yeah.
general industry with general consumer goods. So such a rise in robot use, and we obviously go along with that.
Yep.
Um, our best guess is about 15% of robots get a tool changer.
Yeah.
So the changes, in some respects, there isn't, in the
Yeah.
sense everyone's probably heard the dull, dangerous, slogan. So anywhere where a robot could be put in place where someone doesn't
Mhm.
want to do that job because it's so dull, or the environment, it's dirty. There's your third D.
Yep.
And so it's a kind of an unsafe
Yep.
situation. Those have been the driving force of robotics and automation as a whole. Of course, you're trying to drive down cost, to compete in a global market. And so those factors have always played in.
Mhm.
I suppose the technologies of what is the tool
Yeah.
that's on the end of the robot is where what's changed.
Mhm.
So how does that affect us? Is the modules that have to couple and uncouple and pass those utilities through
Mhm.
to the tool, as we call it. That's what's changed, and we have to stay ahead of that curve.
Yep.
That's our toughest task, or we're in conjunction with the customer of what's the next use, what's the
Mhm.
driving force that'll make or break your application, and then we better have the module to suffice.
Well, yeah, because I think the common question is what's next that they're going to try to put on the end of a robot,
Yeah.
and the tool changer people are the ones that actually have to worry about that because the robot guys are just, well, we can carry this much weight, if it's heavier, then you need a bigger robot, and that's where they stop, right? The tool changer people are the ones that
Correct.
have to bring the air, pass the air through, pass the power through, decouple, couple. It's more on the tool changer side of the whole build to accommodate these new tools.
Yes. And so much driving towards the electric and
Yep.
servo changes. So we've had to develop a particular electrical, what we call a multi-D net. It's the electrical box
Yep.
that pass those signals through. And that's even communication with the different protocols, along with just high voltage, high
Yep.
amperage. It may be ultrasonic welding applications in the plastic industry. That takes a different requirement in the coax end of things. And then certainly your vision applications have been very much an important with bin picking. The assembly process is going to start with the parts being presented to the assembly, to the robot or pick and place, if you will. And somehow, they've got to put a vision system on there. And if they're going to put a tool changer on the robot to do it, well, then we've got to be able to break, connect and disconnect that vision signal, which of course we have those modules also.
So, with these modules, all tool changer companies are having to accommodate these same requests. What makes your tool changers unique in what they're doing?
One thing that comes to mind is all this product is Stäubli made. When we started out and I went through the different divisions, the electrical division and fluid connector divisions are the basics for all those modules. They're either electric signals, they're your vision, your water, whatever that we're having to pass through. It's in Stäubli's control, so it's very much a design that we're partnering up with our own people to make it the right way and our way, and then of course control over what the product quality is to meet our standards, and then certainly price and delivery. It's always a critical item.
What about safety? When we talk about, you've mentioned like the dull, dirty, and dangerous kind of jobs at these companies. There's a certain level of safety that have to be additional compliant, right? Because I'm sure you're going to be working with cobots in addition just to industrial robots. So I'm sure that the tool changer side of it needs to be safe as well. How are you guys accommodating that request?
Yes, very much a criteria that is growing. Being a European company, that standard has, I'll say, and I may get corrected, but it's been in place probably longer. They've had to meet a safety standard sooner than here in North America.
Yep.
And we have broken up the safety standard, not the standard itself, but our equipment line. So our smaller side of the tool changer has what we call Safety Plus, and then from a particular size up, then we go into what we call active docking. And I should probably back up a second and say that we go from 10 kilogram payload all the way up to 2,500 kilogram payload in a single tool changer. So there are obviously many models, many styles, and that make up that whole big criteria, but we've tried to match up with all the robot manufacturers. They have an ISO standard of the end of the wrist, the bolt pattern, and therefore we had to come up with tool changers that hopefully bolt right on, match up. And now back to the safety side of it, the Safety Plus is on the small side, which we partnered with SICK for their safety switches, and that is basically a paired switch and actuator. Switch being on the robot side of the tool changer, and the actuator being the paired side of that safety switch being on the tool stand where the tool side would rest. Yep. So when the robot comes in, it's going to look for that paired switch that completes the signal. That then the other side of it is a valve bank that basically is allowing, once that paired switch is mated, now you're opening up the passage through solenoids so that the regular signal on solenoids can do the lock unlock. Yep. So it's that redundant circuit that we're creating with the Safety Plus.
What was the driving factor for this technology in terms of how and why it was developed?
Well, both from a safety of an employee and a safety of the tool side. Safety is for the person in the operating, cell is probably self-explanatory. What the robots are swinging around doing. Everyone is worried about that, from light curtains
Yep.
to anything that makes a cell safe for the person to be not only under operation, but while they're working on it. So that was a driving, certainly probably the number one I would go to.
Yep.
But then the tool side, some of these tools can be very expensive,
Yep.
and if one inadvertently gets dropped and damaged, well, now you have all that time to bring it back
Yep.
up, and production is so important that
Mhm.
you've got downtime is a no. So
Yeah.
safety in that tool respect is the next criteria.
Yeah, I mean, safety and just redundancy, I think, is so kind of synonymous with each other now in terms of, making sure that the robot is in the right place, because your transmitter and your receiver almost are like a matched pair, right? So, once you assign that tool to that stand, it won't ever be dropped anywhere else other than that location.
Correct.
And so,
Yes.
so I think that's important to know, that it won't ever drop unless it's at that stand.
Was that an issue before? Like, were tool changers like losing their tools before? I mean, because they weren't programmed right. Was that a situation?
Yes, it very well could have been. And there are still applications where, well, or let's just say a setup where they're just using a basic air signal of lock
Mhm.
unlock. So if there's an inadvertent program signal to send air to the unlock while the robot is out there working, or if somebody maintenance wise is back hitting the solenoid bank,
Mhm.
we've probably have all seen it where
Mhm.
all of a sudden that tool drops. More so maybe why program is being done, or why they debugging,
Mhm.
but you don't want the damage. So
Yep.
Right.
yes, it's been done, and it's nice to see that the safety requirements are being put into place, so everything is protected. So once that robot goes and couples up with the tool, pulls out of the tool stand, now there's virtually no way for that, if an inadvertent signal, a bad line of code in the program, that the tool cannot be dropped
Mhm.
unless you are making a conscious decision
Yep.
to, strap up the tool and then send that signal, usually for maintenance reason, or if some
Mhm.
catastrophic, robot crash occurred, we
Mhm.
still have to be able to go and do that when you want to. But
Mhm.
now you've taken the steps to put in place to make sure everything
Yep.
is,
Right.
safe and ready to do that.
Well, I wanna transition to the active docking, because I think that you said that was for the bigger couplings. Because I'm
Yes,
always curious as to, you mentioned, before we get into it, you mentioned 2,500 kilograms.
yes.
What what would require a tool changer with that capacity?
Well, as the robots are growing,
Yeah.
anyone can look at the robot, the bigger
Yeah.
names, the robot manufacturers,
Yeah.
and see that their robots are climbing that high.
Yeah. That's crazy.
At the
Mhm.
various automate shows, you're
Yeah.
seeing bigger and bigger robots
Yeah.
Yes.
that can pick up an entire car, or
Yeah.
a bigger portion of a plane. So as the robot grows, and now you want the flexibility to
Mhm.
grow, hence why you use a robot tool changer, is to add flexibility to that
Mhm.
robot, different
Do
tools
you
as we talked about.
Yeah.
Now you've created the situation, so now we've got to match what the robots
What's
are doing.
what's the general
And they are
dimension?
heavier
Yeah.
payload,
Yeah.
both in part, and you don't want people involved in lifting heavier parts.
What's the general dimension of that tool changer, if you know off the
Uh,
top of your head?
it Yeah, it is on the order of about 16, 18 inches in
Wow.
diameter.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as heavy, it doesn't take up that much
Yeah.
payload away from the
No.
Right.
robot.
Yeah.
Uh, but as you get in, you're adding modules. You've got to account for that entire footprint that the tool changer, makes up.
Mhm.
But the tools get very large.
Yeah. Surprisingly, it's smaller than I had imagined in my head, the base of your tool.
Yeah.
16 to 18 inches is not that much when you're talking about 2,500 kilograms.
No, it's not a lot at all.
So,
your overall thickness
Yeah.
though it grows.
yeah.
So obviously it's a bunch of material that once it's coupled, think of it as just a solid, chunk of material. So
Yeah.
that much, aluminum, steel is tough to break away.
So active docking, can you explain that a little bit more in detail?
Yes, that is a very smart, simple way of meeting a PLD Cat 3 requirement. And anyone you could Google those codes and get into the detail of what that means. But that's the certification that we've met and is the first standard out there that both Safety Plus and active docking meet. But since we are a quick disconnect coupling company first before tool changer company, it's a simple way of the module on the tool side, a mandrel extending up before the robot side and the tool side meet, creating an air passage for your unlock lock signal to come in. So what we're basically doing is creating a break in your unlock airline back to the tool changer, because the tool changer, like all, are a pneumatic piston, driving the locking balls out underneath the tool side. So the active docking again is just doing a break in that airline by a very ingenious way of making a quick disconnect coupling.
Yeah.
And makes that the redundancy then, along with the pressure switch, meets your PLD Cat 3 requirement.
How often are the safety requirements changing for you guys? Not often, or is it something you guys need to keep up with?
The standards are out there, and I'm not up on them enough to know how quick they are changing, because here in North America, they're just they're becoming more and more the standard. It's just a matter of, to the customer or the end user, what requirement do they want to meet? Because there's PLD, there's PLE, there are numerous ones with different requirements, and it depends on what standard they want to employ.
And I will double down on your comment, just so no one corrects you, but I do believe the safety standards are usually initiated in the European area more so than they are in North America. It seems like North America is usually the late adopter, where the Europe is early adopters of most regulations. At least in my experience, that it just seems like that's how it goes usually.
But it is growing here.
Yes.
It's very much being an important requirement. And obviously, as more robots come into play, no matter what size, type, how they're going to be on an assembly line or located where, right next to people, that safety is becoming very much of a high interest.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Denny, is there anything else that you'd want to talk about today before we start to wrap things up?
No, we've covered the safety items, Stäubli as a whole, and where we're located. And I know we have a video that people can watch on the Safety Plus, but we'd love to work and hear from anyone on any applications that they're working on, and be involved.
Oh, great. Well, thank you, Denny, so much for being on the show. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. And if you're not already, you can go check us out on YouTube.
And for those watching us on YouTube, please stay tuned. We have a video from Denny and Stäubli about their Safety Plus. Until next time, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Hello and a very warm welcome to the presentation of Safety Plus, a safety system for Stäubli's new range of robot tool changers up to 55 kilogram payload. Safety Plus ensures that a tool changer never ever again can lose its tool and can only unlock in the safe area of its parking position. Therefore, Safety Plus increases the safety of your employees, the cell, the product, and prevents downtime. Let's see how it works. The system consists of 3 components. The first component is installed at the robot side of the tool changer. It's a transponder-coded safety switch. We call it the Safety Plus module. Its counterpart is installed at the tool stand, and it's an actuator. When those 2 components come close enough to each other, then and only then, Safety Plus allows the unlocking of the tool. And this is exactly the plus in safety the system offers. When the unlock command comes from the control, and the control is working with a faulty program due to errors in code or due to incorrect coordinates because of errors in teaching, Safety Plus still only allows unlocking if the tool is in the safe area of the parking position. The same is the case with an operator giving the unlock command on the panel. Safety Plus will always ensure that unlocking is safe and will only then allow it. I said Safety Plus allows the unlocking. What does it mean? How does it work? And for that we take a look at the third component of the system, which is the valve unit. And this valve only opens and lets the air pass through if the other 2 components of Safety Plus before ensured that the tool is at its safe parking position. And this safety function corresponds to Performance Level D, Category 3. And a tool changer equipped with Safety Plus fulfills all the requirements from ISO 10218 Part 2. And therefore, regarding the safety assessment, you no longer have to worry about the tool changer. That job is already done for you by Safety Plus. Installation of Safety Plus is easy and simple, also in case of retrofitting. The Safety Plus module and the actuator are very compact. The valve unit, compact as well, and you can position it anywhere. On the tool stand, on a rack in your cell, wherever you want. And all this done with little wiring. In addition, the whole system can easily be integrated into the control, quickly be put into operation, and is maintenance-free. You have any questions? Feel free to contact us. We at Stäubli are happy to visit you in your company and explain Safety Plus in your work environment. On that note, see you soon.
This podcast is brought to you by Promise Incorporated, hosted by Matthew Rawl, mixed and edited by Ben Parsons, and produced by myself, Lauren Rawl. If you have any questions or would like to be on the podcast, please reach out to podcast@promiseinc.com.